Assalamualaikum and a very good afternoon to everyone. So thank you for having me here. Thank you to Prof. Wan and the World Site Committee team for inviting me. The title that was given to me was on innovation. But then I know I'm not the best person because I know there's a lot of other lecturers in our department who are also actively innovating at the moment. But I shall try my best to gather all the knowledge and also the information and share with everyone. So the target audience for this talk are mainly our beloved students and also to all the young doctors who are our future innovators. Now let's go into how we define innovation is merely when we create or develop something, a new product, a process, or even a service. And of course, we say it's a good innovation if it is a useful, successful exploitation of new ideas. So basically, their types of innovation can be simplified in either incremental type or it can be the radical type. Incremental means there is improvement of the existing product or process. And radical is when you start to innovate some new ideas from scratch. So there are many areas that you can innovate, either on a product, on service, the process, as what we saw this morning. There's a lot of improvement in the system, management, innovation, as well as, it can be anything basically. Anything new that helps to improve the pre-existing condition, it will be called as innovation. So when they put into perspective, yes, there's a looks like a long-winded process. It starts from the idea, analyzing the idea, which one can work well, which one is more needed, and start to design the what we call it, the solution. First of all, don't forget to patent whatever idea that you have before you proceed further, and presenting it. So you can see that you actually patent the product before you start to present it to other people. The reason for the presentation is usually to get some financial support. Look for interested parties who actually want to work with you, and at the same time you're actually trying to build up your team, and eventually branding it, and finally to commercialize it. So the key success for all innovation is merely when you have a clear goal from the beginning, relevant to the end users, you have the right team to work with, and also enough funding is very, very important to make sure that your product can be, can reach the end users effectively, because you need to probably mass production, or it involves a lot of advertisement. So those are where the funding comes in at the end. Make sure you find the right channel from the beginning. So there's a lot of try and errors during the process. And what is important is to have team members who are committed, who have the same interest, the same pace, and the same objective. So then you can bring your idea to reality with the same team, right? So how to start innovating? Of course, you have to identify the problem. If you don't see the problem, you will not find the solution. So you have to look around in the clinic, among your patients, even in your surgical method, treatment-wise, is there any problem which has not been solved? Do you wish things to be better than what it is now? So those can be identified as a potential problem that you should work on. Now, be very careful if you're accustomed to places for too long, especially when you work in a place for too long. You will see everything around you as norm, right? So you start to lose the big picture, and you will probably don't see any problem or anything to improve. So that can be dangerous as well. So how do we overcome those situations? Well, what I like to do, I always like to visit other places and see how other people do things. Not only that, you can get into groups and exchange ideas, and then you realize, there's something lacking in my department or in my field that I wish it can be better, as good as the other people. Last I was just thinking, where have I been working, and also where are the places that I have visited. So of course, these two places are non-ophthalmology department, but those places that I have visited, it's not only to get to know how they treat patients, not only to learn how to treat patients, but also to learn the system. So, try to make a point to mingle around with their staff, get to know the system, how do they do this, how do they do that, in hope that when you go back to your hospital, there's always something that you can improve from what you have seen other people. You might be able to either replicate what you have seen, but you might also invent or innovate something much better. So, visiting other places are also one way for us to sort of, look for, is there any ways that you can do things better in your own field. Now, of course, once you get to identify the problem, you start to look at ideas to find the solution. Then at the same time, if you think you're stuck, it's always good to find a partner to work with and make sure they have the same interest, the same pace. I learned this from my IT collaborators because he was a bit choosy to get people on board, because mainly to ensure that the team can work well and everyone is able to contribute timely, because everybody's very busy unless you are very interested in that product or interested in that particular project. Then only everybody will sort of, give their best and spend time for it, or else you get everyone becomes too busy and unable to commit. So you don't want to have that kind of people in your team. So choose your team well. When you already have an idea, unless you can plan or design things yourself, you can actually patent the product. But to be frank, it's not going to be easy. So a lot of my so-called project are actually a collaborative project from the beginning. So when I have problem, I will go to certain people who are good at doing things, and get them to design for me. And of course, when it comes to patency, we are sharing the patency with the person who actually designed the product. Unless you pay them and they've agreed to let go their interest, and then you can keep that patency for yourself. So make sure that you can actually work well with your partner and make everything very clear from the beginning, so there will not be any conflict in the future. Having team and collaborators is very important. Now, there's a quote says that if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. So keep searching. You'll definitely find someone. It can be either one of your old friends, or it can be anybody new. But it has to be, you will definitely find someone with the same interest, to work along during the project. So again, patency or, register for intellectual property is very important. Do it at the first stage. Once we have the product, the first prototype, the first idea that has sort of materialized, that is when you register for IP. And the easiest way to register for the IP is for the copyright, which is very fast. Anybody can do this, and it's very cheap as well. For trademark, it's also quite fast. And also another one is the industrial design. We have the geographic indication, patents, and confidential information. But at least I have, me, myself, and my team, I have one industrial design patency and also a few copyrights. So, that's how you keep your IP under your care. But bear in mind, IP is not lifelong. Whatever you register will just last for another 3 or 4 years. And after that, anybody can use your idea to make good use of it. Yeah. So there's various ways to do the IP. You can do it yourself, or you can go via an institution. So these are just to share some of our collaborators in my own project. There's actually a lot of people actually interested to collaborate with medical people, to be frank. It can be very interesting when you start to open a discussion with them. They have so much idea, and they can actually help you a lot to materialize the solution for your problem. So I have this Malaysia Japan International Institute of Technology in UTM. They are actually one of the active collaborators with many doctors in IGN, also in the other hospitals. So anybody interested can look for any engineer lecturers or any students from MGIT, UTM, KL. Of course, our common industry partner is helping us with some funding here and there. GMI, German Malaysia Institute, is also my good collaborator who actually helped to improve my prototype design. One of our project in ophthalmology is a virtual reality for training purposes. We collaborate with Integrasi Erat Sdn Bhd, which is one of the agent for Vitalis, which is based in the UK. So you need to involve a lot of people when it comes to for certain problems that you can't solve by yourself. Or you can't be doing everything yourself. It's not going to be easy unless the solution does not need help from other people. Yeah. Because we are very busy clinician, we will not have time to solve everything ourselves. So I mean, one of the best way for me to get things sorted out is by having interested parties to work along. Now in UCAM itself, we have collaborators coming from the IVI, Institute of Visual Informatics. So we have a lot of other departments doing some collaboration with the IVI. We have the 4IR group in also in UCAM. I'm not quite familiar with that, but I know they are actively collaborating with us. The engineering faculty is actually very active, as well as the faculty technology science maklumat. And a lot of other faculties are very much interested to collaborate with the medical faculty. So look around for it. Yeah. So for any innovation product, you need to have funding eventually. At the beginning, you might not need much of fund. You can self-fund yourself to create a prototype. But eventually, when you start to improve the design, you want to start to go into the market, that is when you need some funding. So for those from university, from the students, you can get your lecturers to get some grant. We have all the industry grant. We have the GP grant. A lot of our lecturers also have this GP grant for their research and their products. We have a few coming from MOSTI. This is one of the project with Professor Maylin and also the engineering department. So lead by the engineering department. So coming from MOSTI. Those who have good contact with the industries can actually get all the fundings from the industry. So I think that's one of the best way to work on a product or any problem, any innovation, sorry. Now, just to share that sometimes your small idea might become big. Just one of my VR project, which initially was meant for the ophthalmology department, but then it sort of attract interest from other departments as well. So now it is actually a faculty project which goes under the Faculty of Medicine, and is being funded by the using the MESTEC grant. It's huge fund at the moment, so 1 million. So anything small, when you start to explore, you can be very surprised. Just keep exploring and exchange ideas. You never know where it's going to lead you to, and you will be able to benefit a lot of people at the end of the day, right? Commercialization is always a big step, and it might not be easy for everyone. Yeah, that is when, if you can get the industry or the interested industry, the relevant industry to collaborate with you from the beginning, that would be the best option to do, right? If not, it's not. You have to do all the work yourself. You have to start to look at the marketability of your product. You have to create some Q&A or some research or some kind of analysis on the product so that you can present to the big funder who are willing to assist you to probably mass produce your product, and then eventually to commercialize it. So that is actually a big step, but I would really strongly advise if you can get industrial collaborator from the beginning. Of course, after you have patented the product, and get them involved, from the beginning, during the improvement of the prototype and those things. I think it will be much easier. And just to share some of our, actually this is one of my project. It starts a couple of years ago. This is like 5 to 6 years ago. For example, this is actually, I wish to have something to assist the blind people, basically. So it started when I started to see many young patients with poor vision from various diseases. Some of them are very professional, and it's not uncommon nowadays to see diabetic with advanced diabetic eye diseases. So those are actually that sort of initiate me to see that as a problem that I hope I can, be part of the team that can help to solve the problem. Well, so it just happened the right time when I was invited to become a mentor for the final year engineering student in MGIT-TM. One of the lecturers was actually my old friend. So he asked me to present 3 problems I wish to solve, because you have to understand, when you try to create a team, you need to make sure that they are actually having the same interests. So you can't force your idea on people to make people to do it or to like it. So I was asked to present 3 problems that I wish to solve. And then the students decided to, it's a group of students, and they decide to choose one. And they design, build a prototype, and it was self-funded by the department, I think, and it cost them about 5,000. So eventually they come with the first prototype, and they attended a few innovation events, start to expand and do some collaborative work, and and slowly involve the other department, the optometry department, the German Malaysian Institute departments, during the process of improvement of the prototype. So we do get some grant coming from the UKM, which is the GGPI. And slowly we improved the prototype, which consists of hardware and software. We were trying to commercialize it, but unfortunately, because the market wise is not big, right? Because it's just going to be used by the low vision patient and not the whole big market. So not by the normal people usually. So we had a bit of struggle there. We did our own market analysis, interview our patients, interview our users. And eventually that we could not find anyone who wants to sponsor the product. Okay, this is our second big project. Well, this project starts with a casual discussion over lunch. Again, I happened to have a lunch with one of the advisor for a VR company. Not my friend, actually. It's just like he happens to be there during the lunch time. And I start to share the idea of, can you create a VR for cataract training? Because it has been some simulation type of cataract training can be very, very expensive. So can we create our own cataract training? So that was the idea that came about during the discussion. So they agreed to work on it, to look into the idea. And what we did is we provide video and describe to them steps by step about the cataract surgery. Eventually, they helped us to secure a grant. Actually, they did all the writings and everything, because they know the detail of the product compared to us. We medical doctors, we don't really know about all this, technical thing, right? So we just give them the problem, the idea to solve it, and the collaborator do the rest. So we create an MOA, we fine tune the VR work. We managed to assist 2 PhD students to graduate on time, and there were also a few publications. Now, along the way, there's a lot of issues. I'm not saying that it is easy. Eventually, then we realized that the VR company do not have the best wand for us to use. Wand is one of the instruments that we use for VR. So because when it comes to cataract surgery, it is a microsurgical training. So they don't have an appropriate wand for the microsurgical, the tactile kind of instrument. So we were quite stuck on that. So at the moment, they're helping us to venture and look into the solution. But while doing that, interestingly, the other department, who are not the microsurgical department, was actually interested to join in the project. So now it becomes a big faculty project. under the lead of Prof. Ismail Saibun. So sometimes you might not be able to commercialize the whole thing at the end, but you never know, other people will actually benefit of it. Might not be surprised if, if we can't commercialize it, one of this department will be able to do so. So that was among the journeys in our innovative projects. Apart from all those big projects, we have all these as well. Some of our students have been presenting this morning, all the information pack for the patients. We have this information guide done by Dr. Lu Yiling for our premium lenses. We have the retinal consultation pack. And also, of course, we won a few prizes for all those innovation. Just to highlight that our department is actually everybody actively innovating at the moment. Everybody is trying to contribute something. Everybody is trying to, to share their ideas, not only to improve the service, to improve the teaching and learning experience, and for the benefit of the students and also the patients. So I hope this will help to inspire our students to be innovators and keep inventing. Always have the idea there's always something to improve, things around you to make life better. Now, these are the phases of family phases in ophthalmology, innovators. So innovating is not very uncommon in ophthalm. We are quite fortunate because some of our innovative product is not that expensive, it's doable. So we have our Prof. Danny Wong, who actually innovate the the automated measurement of the blood vessel caliber, his SIVA project. We have Professor Yamane, who actually invented the improvised fixated technique, and now he is working on his stabilizer for the technique. We have our Professor Akahoshi, who actually invented the pre-chopper, popularizes the pre-chopper technique for cataract surgery. Dr. Manish Papai, I know he has his own IOFB product. Our in-house Professor Yazid Bajuri, one of our excellent, successful innovator at the moment. He has successfully commercialized his product. We've won various international awards with many industry collaborators. So I hope one day he can actually share his experience with us on how he does it. Knows the Daniel thing, AI is another thing in the ophthalmology field at the moment. We have our local Malaysian, Dr. Chan Jambon, who also invented a lot of things. Smartphone videography, he also won the best oral presentation in APACRS in 2015. So what I'm trying to show here is, innovation is something that everybody can do, right? So everybody can actually improve anything around you. So these are the faces of our future innovators, from the department. So I hope everybody will continue to lead and innovate in the future. Continue to innovate because you will be able to continue to contribute. That is the aim at the end of the day. So with that, thank you.